Oh, hi, I'm Steve from Nearly Wild, and today I'm here with
Dean from Devon.
Dean from Devon, come on. How's about that? So what do you do, Dean from Devon?
I live in Devon.
Right.
I do everything that I can do for myself.
Right.
So I grow food, make charcoal for the forges, the blacksmith, all my own tools. Basically, I have a go at making everything that I can make.
So yeah, we were having a bit of a chat earlier on, and I think a lot of what you were talking about is how you pretty much try to work in tune with the natural world on every level of what you do. And I'm particularly interested today. I mean, we're at the wilderness gathering, so we'll probably get a bit of background sound and things here, so apologies for that, you'll have to live with it. But what we're really interested in, we're having a bit of a chat, is rocket stoves. And I know you've got a few, and I was just going to get you to talk me through them, because I've done quite a lot of work in overseas development projects, and I think that they're probably one of those stoves that just doesn't get enough recognition for its value, really.
Yeah. A lot of people don't really understand what they're doing. And the premise of a rocket stove is to use the smallest amount of fuel to get the maximum amount of clean burnt heat. So it produces very little sort of noxious gases and gets maximum heat out of materials that you wouldn't really try and start a fire with. So
Well, let's get you to show me some of that.
Yeah. Okay, so this is the rocket stove, the DK rocket stove. The Rolls-Royce of rocket stoves, I think, but that's my own personal opinion.
Yeah, nothing to do with who made it?
Might be.
Well,
I might be
okay,
biased.
okay, yeah, okay.
But several thousand people like them, so.
Oh, well,
I think
that's
it's
all right
okay.
then.
Yeah, we've had votes of confidence. The principle basically is it burns a small amount of timber, just twigs and sticks that fall off the trees, all the sort of wood that you wouldn't really try and light a fire with, you know, stuff that's just in the way. So we can now cook food on it, boil a kettle and make a good bit of heat. The principle is quite a simple principle. You've got two chambers in here with an adjustable plate. The wood sits on the top. You set it on fire with a taper in any of the holes there. Once it's got a flame in there, it starts drawing hard on it. And the way this system works is that because it's a solid grate, the wood sits on the end. Whilst it's burning here, it forms charcoal that drops into the bottom chamber in here.
Absolutely.
That bottom chamber then has got hot air in it, which draws fresh air through the charcoal. So it's like having a fan on the charcoal fire, which raises the temperature right up. This wood sits above that charcoal and gets cooked. So it dries it out and makes it really, combustible. So it drives the wood gas off that catches fire as well. So you end up with a wood gas fire, a wood fire and a charcoal fire, all been with forced air through it. So you get up to 1100 degrees centigrade in the fire.
Phenomenal.
Which is crazy for the small amount of fuel.
And I mean, we were talking earlier on about the value of these in developing countries where there's very often a firewood shortage. How much wood are you going to use? If I say wanted to make, say, a pan of boiling water for, say, 6 people, how much wood am I likely to be using?
You're probably talking a bundle about that big around would cook you a meal for a big family,
Phenomenal. Yeah, really
and
good.
It's all small diameter wood, so it's not the stuff that anybody would bother to make charcoal or put in a fire conventionally. It'll be gone instantly, whereas with this you can still get the heat out of it. It's designed really primarily for all the little brushwood, for the things that fall off the trees when the wind blows.
Yeah. Which is really important, because I think in a lot of developing countries you're working with very basic tools, so people are cutting much smaller wood. They're not going to start wanting to chop anything up. The minimum amount of work for the maximum heat, really.
And it's any kind of wood as well, so you're not having to make charcoal first, so there's none of that process. You're not cutting down trees. It's the natural shedding of the twigs that the trees do without causing any harm to the trees. So you're not deforesting anything, you're not pulling up any plants. It will actually run on things like nettles.
Oh, will it? That's interesting.
On nettles.
So any type of woody plant,
anything
basically.
That's got the cellulose in it, it'll burn in there. There's only one type of wood that it's not very favourable in there, and that's small section willow.
Right.
For some reason it sort of chokes up.
Chokes it up.
But everything else, it's self-running, self-regulating. You regulate the temperature just by pulling this in and out. That alters the amount of fuel that's in the fire and the amount of secondary air. And there's nothing to go wrong with it. They've got one moving part. requires no updates, there's no subscriptions,
Right.
there's no time limitation on
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
It's,
No buttons to press.
that's it. There's
Oh,
no
good. I'm
electronics,
glad you
no
said that.
electricity in there. It's all natural processes.
Brilliant. No, that's really helpful. Right, well, thanks very much for that. Really appreciate it. Obviously, we'll put more information on the bottom of the video
Yeah.
and links to all your interesting YouTube
Thank you.
content. Yeah,
Thank you.
great to meet you, mate.
Cheers.
Thank you very much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. If you liked it, subscribe. If you didn't like it, leave a reason in the comments as to why.